Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well guys, today we're going to be doing a basic cleanup of the Ruger SR40 pistol. If you're familiar with the Ruger SR9 or the Ruger 9E family of pistols, then the SR40 really isn't much different, but let's just say you happen to buy one of these, you're not familiar with it, or you're just kind of curious about the breakdown and cleaning of a Ruger SR40, then this video is going to be the video for you. So the first thing I want to do is just talk about some of the basic supplies that you're going to need to do this. Now you can go as basic as you want to, or as advanced if you want to. Now when it comes to cleaning supplies, when it comes to oils and things like that, for the last 20 years I've been using either Safariland or CLP, okay, and or Remington Rem Oil. Now I know a lot of people have their own favorite cleaners that they use, and that's fine. You use whatever you want to, you use what works best for you. But I have not ever had any issues with rusting or corrosion on my firearms after I clean them with those two different cleaning supplies, okay? We've also got some basic cotton patches right here. You can use some cut up t-shirts if you don't have patches, and that's fine. Just for some basic scrubbing, you can use some older toothbrushes if you want to, or you can use an actual set of gun brushes, and you can find these in the firearms accessory aisle at your local Walmart or department store, gun store, etc. Now when it comes to actually cleaning out the barrel, the bore, okay, you're gonna have a couple options. You can use a more traditional cleaning rod with a cleaning brush like this 40 caliber brush that you see right here. Certainly works fine if you want it that way. I actually have a couple brushes that came with a Stoeger Cougar 40 cal that I bought many years ago, and this is going to be a soft brass brush that I'll be using to scrub out the barrel, and a nice little nylon brush to finish it up. And then to actually clean out the barrel, you've got many different options. Now I've just got a little one-piece cleaning rod that I'll use that'll have a cotton patch on the end of it, or you can certainly take one of these little cotton patch ends and just screw it into your cleaning rod, run it through a couple times, and you're going to be all set. Other handy items to help to have around when you're doing this kind of a cleanup is a stout cup of coffee. In this case, we got some Black Rifle Coffee Company Just Black coffee that I just brewed. Definitely need that right now. Makes this process so much easier. Some Q-tips, and if you want to splurge a little bit, or let's just say that you're just getting into pistol shooting for the first time, get yourself a nice bore snake. With just a couple passes through the barrel, this will basically do what your barrel brush and your swabs and your patches can do. This will save you a lot of time. These run anywhere between $10 to $15, and you can pick them up at most of your sporting goods stores, gun stores, department stores, etc. Now this one is 4.9mm, so I won't be using it to clean this pistol. We're going to go a little more old school with the cleaning methods, but again, a bore snake is always a good suggestion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And before I forget, I know this is just a shameless plug. I want you guys to go check out the Hit or Miss podcast over on YouTube and gunchannels.com. It is on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Definitely check it out. It's a great place to get some gun information. So, back to the cleaning. What do you need to know? Well, the first thing we want to do is verify that the pistol is in fact unloaded. So what you want to do is go ahead and pull back on the slide so it locks into place. Okay, verify that your chamber is empty. Go ahead and eject your magazines. Okay, no rounds in the mag. All right, now this pistol is going to be just a little bit different. You want to make sure that the slide is locked back into this position. If for any reason it's not, all you have to do is push back on the slide, and then when it pushes all the way back, push up with your slide lock button, slide release, okay? Some guys like to call it a slide lock, and that's fine. Okay, just push up on it, it's going to lock into place. We're all set to go. Now, what's a little bit different on this pistol versus, say, a Glock or Smith & Wesson SD9VE or even a SIG for that matter, is the fact that you have this little takedown pin that you're going to be pulling out. Now, in order to take it out, it does have a little tiny notch down here that you can use to get your fingernail in there, but you can also press on the back side right here. So we're just going to push on it, and it's essentially going to just simply pop out. So we'll just go ahead and use a marker or any kind of little plastic piece so you don't scratch your frame. Go ahead and push down on it a little bit. It'll pop down a little bit, and you can see how it's already starting to come out. Go ahead and just pull out that takedown pin. Don't worry, your slide is locked back into place. You're going to be all set there. Now, putting some good pressure on the top of the slide, go ahead and pull back, and then hold on to the slide. Slowly pull the trigger first, okay, and then release, separate your frame from your slide and barrel. Now that's why you want to verify that the gun is empty, because on this pistol, you do sometimes have to pull the trigger in order to get the slide come off. The way that I disassembled it, you have to do that, okay? So now this pistol recently had 100 rounds of Winchester white box run through it, and so it's probably going to be just a little bit dirty. This will be a good way for us to check and see just how much powder residue 100 rounds of 40 Smith & Wesson Winchester white box leaves in a pistol. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and just give the mags just a quick little clean. And easy way to do it is just to spray a little bit of Rem oil on a cotton patch. It's real simple, real easy. And you can disassemble the mags if you want to, but there are different videos out there on it that you can follow for this. And this firearm was recently used out in the winter and the snow, so it's always a good idea to make sure you get this home as soon as you can and get it cleaned off. Just a little wipe down, just some preservative, and that's it. You can see how much crud that took off just doing it. And by the way, these magazines were clean before I went out to the range, so it had already been cleaned one time just to make sure that the gun was going to function fine. So as you can see, we've already got, again, a lot more burnt carbon deposits, a lot more residue from the powder being fired, and so on. Okay, we got those out of the way. Now the next thing you want to do is go ahead and spray the frame with a little bit of Rem oil, and then just take your cotton patches and just go ahead and start wiping everything down. You can get in there with some Q-tips if you want to and get all the fine edges that you can't reach with your fingers. Another thing you have to watch out for is this ejector here. When you disassemble it, it's going to push forward. You want to make sure that this ejector is actually pushed forward in the downward position when you go to reassemble the firearm. And we'll take you through the whole process because there's one extra little step on this that you have to do that you don't necessarily find yourself having to do with other pistols, okay? So let's just take a minute and go ahead and just wipe out a few parts. Now, it is a polymer frame. You can wipe off the frame if you want to. I don't know how necessary it really is, but you can, just because you can start to get a buildup of powder and so on. Apologize for any noise in the background. My cat loves to get involved in these videos, and she's fiddling around with a few things that are floating around on the floor right now. I think she's actually eating some dog food, so that's always good. Anyway, now to get in on these rails, you want to go ahead and get yourself a Q-tip just for the initial cleaning, and we'll put some CLP on them. Just hit them with a little bit of Rem oil, and then you can just go ahead and slide your Q-tips in the rails, and then we're basically good to go there. And you do get a little bit of a buildup. Again, it's not anything too major. You can go over all the parts of the brush if you want to. Okay, it's really no big deal. It's totally up to you. Kind of get in there a little bit, get in some of the moving parts, some of the nooks and crannies. You start to get a little bit of a buildup. Okay, really not that hard to do. Now, something that I like to do, okay, spray a little Rem oil on a patch that you put on your cleaning handle with either your patch attachment tool or just a basic one-piece cleaner like I do. Go through your magazine well. This is something that I always do. I know it seems kind of crazy, maybe even a little bit pointless, but you'll be surprised with the kind of buildup you can get in here. And there are sometimes springs in these pistol grips that you have to watch out for, that you want to keep nice and clean and so on. And again, as we can see, it pulled a little bit of carbon off there too. So we'll go ahead and just pull that off to the side. Okay, so your lower frame is basically ready to go. Again, make sure that your ejector is pressed down so it's out of the way. Okay, and that's going to be all set for reassembly. Okay, now moving on. Oh yeah, your takedown pin. Go ahead and just hit your takedown pin with a little bit of Rem oil. Okay, and then just go ahead and wipe it off. That all taken care of, no problems there. Okay, so far it's not as dirty as I thought it was going to be, but you know, every pistol's a little bit different when it comes to how much stuff is going to build up inside of it every time you take it out to the range. Okay, we got that all taken care of. Now you do have a one-piece guide rod here that is captive, which means you don't have to worry about it shooting at you when you take the rod out. You do want to make sure that you use a little bit of pressure when you remove it. It's very simple. It is basically going to come off the slide. Let's get this put back together here and I can show you. There we go. Okay, it's going to essentially look like this when it comes off the when you take it off the frame. Just go ahead and push in. It's just going to pop right out. So, okay, no big deals there. No problems there. Go ahead and just spray that with a little bit of Rem oil and go ahead and wipe it off. Again, you can get as detailed as you want to. I do like clean firearms. I'm not obsessive when it comes to cleaning them off, but I like to make sure that they are nice and clean. Okay, just make sure you get all the grime off that. If it has a light coat of oil on it, that's okay. You want to make sure it's not just soaking in oil, because the last thing you want to do is have this stuff attract any kind of muck or grease or grime, etc. So we'll go ahead and push that out of the way. Okay, no problems there. All right, now what we'll do is go ahead and remove your barrel, and we'll take the slide and just put that off to the side for now. Okay, go ahead and take and shoot a little bit of CLP down the barrel. This is what I like to call marinating the barrel. It gives it a chance to soak a little bit before we start to scrub it. And then just go ahead and hit a couple little globs of the CLP around the outside of it and just get the cleaner all over the barrel. Now, this is a cleaner and a lubricant, but it's sometimes a good idea to go over it a second time with a light coat of oil just to protect it, especially if your gun's going to be sitting around for a long time. You want to make sure that you have something on it. And this part tends to get a little bit messy. This is where you really start to see all that crud and all that grime start to come off the pistol, because a lot of it, a lot of the action of the gun when it's firing, a lot of it starts to build up on these lugs, on the barrel, obviously inside the barrel, etc. Yeah, it's pretty dirty. Now also you want to make sure you got your feed ramps nice and clean. The little edges around your feed ramps right here, also very important. Okay, go ahead and wipe that off, scrub that off, no problems. Go ahead and take your Q-tip, and you can put a little bit of CLP on your Q-tip, just on the tip of it. And I like to kind of get in there and where the lugs are on the top of the barrel, just go ahead and get those scrubbed off, because you will start to get a buildup in there too. Again, make sure your feed ramps are nice and clean, no problems. Again, everybody cleans their guns in a different kind of way. Everybody kind of has their own style of doing it. Some guys don't clean them that often, and some people are very obsessive about keeping clean firearms, and that's perfectly fine. You just do whatever's going to work best for you. Okay, it's really no big deal. Okay, we'll go and set that off to the side. Now we're going to go and just take a dry patch and just wipe off any excess residue. We haven't cleaned out the barrel yet. We're going to do that in a second. Okay, so like I said, you have a lot of options for cleaning out your barrel. If you want to use a one-piece cleaning rod with a 40 cal bore brush, you just simply go from the back to the front, scrub it in and out a couple times, and then we'll go from there. As for me, I like to use this one, this little 40 cal brush that I have. This thing works great. All you have to do is just scrub it a couple times. Just get any kind of buildup in there. I like to rotate the barrel a little bit as I do that. Now, I've used this little cleaning rod many times. This thing has been really put through the ringer. All right, and now I just go ahead and back it up with a little nylon brush, which this isn't necessary, but I just use it since I have it anyway. Then what we want to do is just go ahead and take a look at the barrel, and it should be nice and shiny, it should be nice and clean. All right, no problems there. Should not see any crud or any parts or little particles in the barrel. It should be nice and clean at that point. So we're not totally done yet. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is go ahead and take a patch and either put it on your cleaning rod or whatever it is that you want to use, whether it's a one piece or it's something like my setup over here. We're going to do just one clean patch down the barrel, and that's going to absorb all the stuff that we just scrubbed away. We want to run it through and make a few passes through the barrel. Again, I typically use bore snakes on my barrels, but I don't have one for the 40 cal because I don't own a 40 cal pistol. This one's actually loaned to me from a friend that I used for the channel. And we take a look down that barrel. It's now nice and shiny. Looks good. There you go. Okay, no problems there. The last thing that I like to do, and this is going to be totally up to you, is just a little bit of Rem oil on a patch. Okay, put your patch back on your cleaning rod again. Again, with us just wiping out the barrel the way that we did, you'd be okay if you want to, but I always like to leave a light protective coat inside the barrel, just real thin, nothing too excessive, right? Okay, go ahead and take that off. Okay, take those patches off to the side. All right, take one more patch. Well, let's go ahead and put the barrel off to the side for now. Okay, now for the slide itself, you can either use Rem oil or you can use some CLP. It's pretty much up to you. Just spray a couple globs in there. And then just kind of rub around the inside, wipe around the inside on all the edges, and it's going to start doing its thing. It's going to start pulling off your residue that's built up inside the slide. Get your fingers in there. This part's going to get a little bit dirty, especially the area where the striker comes out, where it hits the back of the primer. This can really get dirty. Now this one has a loaded chamber indicator. We're going to go ahead and wipe that off too. Rugers have a lot of safety mechanisms built into them, and you know, whether or not you think they're necessary, that's totally up to you to decide, but there are a lot of extra parts on these guns that might not be necessary for the kind of gun that it is, but that's just how Ruger does it, so you know, really can't change that at this point. Okay, and make sure you get in the opening on the front of your slide where your barrel goes. That all scrubbed out nice and clean, because you will get a buildup down there. Again, just go ahead and scrub it out. Again, you don't want to get too much oil in here. You don't want to get too much of it into these little nooks and crannies where the striker is. We will not be disassembling the striker on this pistol. There are ways to do it. You'll have to watch other cleaning videos on doing it, but again, I'm not a gunsmith, so it's not something I typically do. Don't usually have to worry about it, but you certainly can if you want to. Now, the front of the striker can get fairly dirty, and so you can scrub it with a brush if you want to. That's going to be up to you. This one looks pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with some CLP on a Q-tip and just go ahead and just wipe down, get in that buildup off of it. There we go. Also, back of the extractor, you want to make sure that that's nice and clean. You don't want to leave too much oil in this area because you don't want a buildup of dust and dirt and grime. So the last thing you want to do is have anything foul up your firing pin. So keep it nice and clean, keep it lightly lubricated and oiled, and you should be all set to go. There we go, no problems there. That looks good. Definitely cleaner than it was before, I can tell you that. There we go. Okay, now what I like to do is just go ahead and take another Q-tip. All right, just go ahead and light little splotch of CLP there on the Q-tip. And just go ahead and run it down these channels in the slide. And that's going to leave the little bit of lubrication that you need to make sure that the friction points on the firearm don't bind up, don't cause any issues, that everything runs nice and smooth. You can see we have a little bit of a buildup there. You can go over that 2 or 3 times if you want to. That's totally up to you. Okay, there we go. Okay, then we'll go ahead and just take it and run it down the other side now. Get any buildup off there. You can kind of get around that channel area where your striker is. There we go. Get those nice and clean. Okay. Especially towards the rear, you want to get that cleaned off too. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I would say that this is ready to go for reassembly. All right, now what you want to do is go ahead and put a little bit of CLP on a patch. Again, I tend to go through a lot of patches. You can use these patches a lot more, but I like to keep using clean ones just so you can see what comes off this gun as you clean it. Okay, one last little coat of protectant, lubricant here to go. Okay, on your barrel assembly. So go ahead and put your barrel back into the slide. I'll just slide right in. Make sure it's nice and flush like this. It should be flat. Okay, you don't want it up like that or down. You don't want any kind of gap or anything in the channel. Just go ahead and set it down. And now we'll go ahead and take your guide rod spring combo, which has this little hex nut end on it. You want to make sure this part goes in forward. And this little flat rear plate here, okay, goes on the back of the lug of the barrel. So just go ahead and push it in there. And that's it. Now this pistol does not have a very deep channel cut for where the guide rod is going to go in the spring, but it should be nice and flat. If it's nice and level, there's no angle going on, you are basically good to go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take you through the process of reassembly. Okay, so for reassembly, there's a couple things you need to know here. Okay, so first of all, make sure that your ejector is pressed down like I showed you before. If you see this, you got problems, make sure that it's pressed down. It will lock into place, okay? We do want to do one last little Q-tip of CLP here. I forgot to mention this, and before we reassemble, just make sure that you have a light amount of lubrication right here on the rails themselves, because again, these are going to be your friction points for the pistol. And make sure that you have a little bit on the top. Again, you don't need to overdo it, just enough to make sure there's a light coat that you can see. Also towards the rear. Okay, just make sure you're having these little tracks and tunnel and so on. There you go. All right, now when you put this together, we're going to slide it back and lock it into place using the slide stop like I had mentioned before. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, put it back together. You should have a nice flush fit just like this. So pull back on the slide and go ahead and lock it into place with your slide stop button, okay, like we said before. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put your pin back in. Now, something that has to happen here, okay, before you release the slide, you can release the slide, but something that you definitely want to do is you have two options. You can go ahead and just pull up. Your little ejector is right here. You can flick it up if you want to, okay? Or if you don't want to go that route, you are welcome to go ahead and just push a magazine in, empty of course, okay? Put that in place, which will lock up the your ejector. Pull back on the slide. Actually, you can push down on your slide stop button here, slide release. There we go. And you're good to go, okay? Other options would just simply be to pull up that ejector and then just pull up on the slide and you're all set to go. So, okay, no problems there. Go ahead and check the functionality of the pistol. Go ahead and take out your magazine. Okay, no problems there. Okay, go ahead and test the striker, make sure it's good to go. Okay, we're all set there. All right, no problems. All right, so now the last thing that we want to do is just with a little bit of Rem oil and one final patch. Okay, just go ahead and give the gun just a general wipe down. It's got a nice stainless steel finish on it. I believe these also came with a blued finish, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely wipe it off anything that's got some fingerprints on it, and you should be all set for your next range trip, so there's no problems. You can always check and make sure that your safety works. Now in order to do that, you're going to have to actually charge the firearm, and then push up on your safety, pull the trigger, okay, push down on the safety, it's going to dry fire. There you go, all set to go. So there you go, guys. In a nutshell, that is the basics of how to clean the Ruger SR40 pistol. This might help you with just some basic pistol cleaning that you're doing on your own. Okay, you definitely have a lot of options there if you go that route. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. Please like or subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. Like I said, everybody has their own way of cleaning their firearms, and I'm not going to object if you do something different. That's certainly cool with you. Otherwise, if this will help you out, great. I'm glad I could help you out. So please like or subscribe, guys. You can check me out over on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also on gunchannels.com with my podcast called Caliber Corner, and my channel, Travis P11, over on YouTube, Travis P11. And you can also support the channel over on www.patreon.com/TravisP11. So there you have it. So guys, there you go. The cleaning of the Ruger SR40 pistol, not too difficult, not too dirty even after 100 rounds. I am surprised, but There you go, guys. So if you like what you see, please like or subscribe. And guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. All right, be careful when you clean your firearms. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.